Hey, welcome to New York. My name is Muttalib and I'm going to tell you an interesting story today. This is New York's worldly known financial district. 2 blocks from me is the stock exchange on Wall Street, and here on my right is the World Trade Center. And this is Lower West Side of Manhattan. It is an area that was once actually called as the Little Syria. The story of Little Syria started when the Ottoman Empire was in decline. Citizens from across the empire, Syrians, Lebanese, Kurdish, Greek, Armenians and Jews were looking for better economic opportunities on the other side of the ocean. Immigrants used different roads to come to the US. Some of them started their journey from Harput and traveled to a Turkish port called Samsun, and then went on the French port city of Marseille, before reaching their final destination of New York. Most of the Ottomans from Arab areas boarded ships from Beirut to Alexandria or Cyprus. The ships would also stop by Genoa, Marseille or Liverpool before going on to New York's Ellis Island. People who were able to provide the necessary documents like passports, work permits, and a minimum of $50 cash, and also passed the health test were allowed to enter Battery Park, just a couple of blocks away from where the Little Syria was. This is Washington Street. Once there were dozens of low-rise residential buildings called tenements, like this one. But during 1940s, when New York's famous architect Robert Moses built the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, many of these buildings were demolished. Today, there are only a handful of them left, and I am standing right in front of the one where the Ottoman Syrians used to live. So here we have the last Ottoman influenced church, St. George Syrian Catholic Church. This is a Melkite church, which means it uses Byzantine rite, which was common among the Christian Orthodox Ottomans, even though it was under the authority of Rome. And today, it's a Chinese restaurant. For years, people thought there was never a mosque here in the Syrian Quarter in the Ottoman New York, because they assumed that almost all the immigrants who lived here were Christian. But historians like Todd Fine, who organizes Ottoman New York walking tours, says historical records show names like Muhammad, and then there is evidence of Muslims working here.
I always believed that we might find evidence of more Muslim worship, but we were shocked just a few years ago to learn that the Ottoman government in 1910 established a mosque at 17 Rector Street in the 3rd floor of a business building. And this mosque was directed by an imam named Mehmed Ali Effendi, who was from Georgia or from Russia and was authorized by the Caliphate, by the Ottoman Caliphate, to be responsible for all Muslims in the United States. And he established his base here in Lower Manhattan near Wall Street. The Ottoman Mosque and its Imam Mehmed Ali Effendi used to live right at this location. But today, the reconstructed building is hosting the second 9/11 museum and Dunkin' Donuts store. But the mosque and church are not the only significant signs of Ottoman life here in Manhattan. There are Syrian bakeries, Lebanese restaurants, coffee houses, and even peddlers that were selling traditional Ottoman non-alcoholic sweet sherbet to New Yorkers. After the gentrification of the area and the construction of many skyscrapers, things changed, and the area lost many of its Ottoman influence. The Ottoman influence in New York may not be as prevalent these days, but it is still here, not just in buildings, but also in culture, mainly through the descendants of those Ottoman immigrants, who are part of the diverse society of New York City today.